called Colt Nicholes?
Look at them all. Look at them all. Oh, Christian Craig smart. He goes to the flag, but Mosman, just like free practice. Nope, Craig got him. Oh, yeah. Mosman almost.
I'm telling you, it's serious,
He
man.
almost fell just like Barsha.
No
He ended up having a karate kick someone's bike off of him. one minute and 30 seconds into qualifying.
Where's the 18? Just chilling.
Yeah, he must have let them all go again on his way back.
He's just chilling. Oh, I mean, yeah, he's just chilling.
Extra chill this qualifier. Last time at least he was rolling around. Now he's like, forget it.
He'll get in there. I think he also, I think if you don't go from that fast start and you want to hold back a little bit and let that open up in front of you so you can get a hot lap in, and especially if you're figuring out lines, it's like that rhythm section, trying new things. You don't want to get in on anybody. Is that Mosman?
Yeah.
Again, slippery. We saw Tomac do it in the 450s, and this track is tricky. That topsoil you're talking about cuts loose, a little early for it to happen, but I mean, you know, there he is.
I'm curious how this track's going to hold up now that we've had a couple days to be here and settle in. You know, I've spent the last couple of days here at the stadium for different responsibilities that I have, and I always go to the track and look and just see where the progress is. And the track crew has been working hard. I wonder how they're going to manage it, though, because Saturday was so tough. I'm wondering if they're going to try something different, or is this just what we have for the soil? Is it just going to go away? Because I have to imagine they're going to try to pack it more in certain spots, maybe loosen it up in some, air it out. Maybe some need a little extra water. I mean, these guys are great. They're very smart, and they're always kind of adjusting to the soil. So I'm anxious to see how this track turns out halfway through the main events tonight, because it was brutal on Saturday. And Colt Nicholes, I mean, he had no problem with it from start to finish.
No problem at all. Super smooth. Ashley, you were watching Colt in the main event, and we heard from him and how just so smooth and controlled and clean and confident he is. It's pretty cool to see.
It was very cool to see, and also just to remember that Colt Nicholes is so used to growing up riding these rutty conditions, and the thing when you're riding ruts is you have to commit to them, and Dan, you know this better than Dan and I, but you can't stare into the ruts. Even if it's on the face of a jump in a transition that's super tight, you have to look ahead, because as soon as you're staring into it, that's when you start to get off and maybe cross run a little bit.
Actually, that is the hardest thing to do in ruts, is to look ahead, because you're so concerned with what's in front of your front tire. But if you look in front of your front tire, then you're not really ready for things that might pop. Oh, that was a clean rhythm. You're not ready for the things that might pop up 3 feet ahead, and it's a challenge for these riders, and a coach will tell them, you've got to look a couple feet out in front of your front tire, trust that your bike will follow your eyes, and it's a commitment thing. Just like we talk about the whoops, how you got to come in and commit to the first couple. Riding in ruts is the same thing. You got to come right here and just keep your eyes above the ruts, because if you look right at them, I know that feels more comfortable. It's not. That's when things jump up and bite you.
Yeah, again, my limited experience being on a track down in California at Fox Raceway, and being in those ruts and even milestones, seeing the deep.
Watch this, 2-1.
See him.
Here we go, roll
this thing.
Over the table.
Over the on-off, yeah, skipping
3,
it. The next
table over
quad.
2 singles,
yep.
Single to the
single
berm.
out.
And you see how he landed in the berm?
Yep.
That's good, because he kind of sets himself up, throws the back tire to the right, lands.
And
that way there's, well, yeah, because he doesn't want any kind of anything to slow down the momentum, so he kind of pitches it, lands right in that rut, and he immediately attacks the berm. You put that together, you get a 47.1, and you go to the top of the board, Dan. Look at the lead he's got. I know it's early, but 1.7 second over Nicholes.
He was in earlier too. So I think Christian Craig was the second fastest in free practice. Lawrence had a 47.5, 48.6 for Christian Craig. Sorry, 48.6 for Christian Craig. So
well, now he's got the 48 over. So he found Craig found a little more there.
Yeah, he's closing the gap a little bit.
So that rhythm section's got some good options too. And you know what? That's great for tonight's racing, because when the ruts do come and the track gets beat up and you got to adjust and make moves, you can have some alternate rhythms in mind that maybe aren't the fastest.
I think you have to.
But maybe, okay, so
or
maybe
even passing, right?
Yeah,
even trying to pass. You need to have different lines.
Maybe your option 2 in the rhythm is a quarter second slower. It's going to be a quarter second faster halfway through the main event when the main line goes away.
Right.
So for these riders, they of course they want to be fast and get their time, but they've got to experiment and get that backup plan ready, because late in the main event, when you're Mosman and Shimoda and Lawrence and Craig, they all ended up together, you better have some options, because if you don't, then you're just going to ride the line of the guy in front of you, and then your only play is hoping they make a mistake, and that's that's not going to work most of the time. You better find some other options. Here's Mosman. He's got that rhythm now dialed too. Obviously, he slowed up right there. That's why he didn't jump into the berm. But Lawrence 47.1. Shimoda with a 48.1 up to
right
number
up
2.
there. Yeah.
He's getting better
Moving
every
north.
single race.
Slow and steady, baby. That's the key. Slow and steady. Take your time. Work your way in. Don't push too hard. And when other people make mistakes, you got to capitalize on it. Right? Joey Savacci talked about that in our roundtable. I got to capitalize on other people's mistakes.
It's Parisi. Holding him. Well, be up. That's a good sign. When they get up and go to their own bike, you know they're all good. Doesn't mean he's not going to be feeling it here after this qualifier, but
yeah, he's holding the stomach a little bit. I'm just not sure what happened there.
End of the whoops. I'm telling you, these rookie kids, man, they got so much talent, but they just haven't done enough runs through the whoops. I'm telling you,
separated.
I mean, think about Christian Craig and where he's at in his career. He's gone to the whoops 100,000 something times.
Yep.
You really
in the pro ranks.
Well, and then you really can understand how to react to certain situations. For Varese, you come into the whoop section, and yeah, you're talented, you're good at them, but you might not be ready to handle the reaction your bike gives you that time because you just never have done it before. So it's the last thing for these guys to master. When they do, it's like a light switch goes off when you really get there. But you'll see these rookie riders have their mistakes, and then they'll go to the jump line.
Yeah. I think traditionally that tends to happen a little later on. They're getting into it pretty early here. I mean, it depends on who it is, depends on the rider, but
depends on the dirt too. This dirt's soft, it folds over a little bit more.
A little kindler, gentler situation for the whoops and for the riders that aren't as experienced in them.
In the track crew, they can build their whoops 2 different ways. They can use a dozer or they can use a loader.
Right.
When you use the dozer, they tend to be a little bit bigger, but the transitions in the bottom are a little smoother. That's why you'll see these guys jump a little quicker. When they build the whoops, God, that's fast right there. See? Now, the 450 guys were making that clean, and based on what I saw right there, it didn't look like a lack of power as far as that he doesn't have it. I think he just mistimed it.
Just a mistake.
So he'll be
and
next lap.
Not a huge one.
Yeah, he'll grease it next lap. But when you build the whoops with a loader, just the way the blade cups in, the bottoms become more V'd out. So it takes a lot longer for the jump line to become available.
Gotcha.
But with the dozer build, they can, I mean, we're a couple minutes into qualifying and they're already getting to that jump line. That's just because of the way it builds.
They were doing earlier today with the dozer, they were cutting up the track. They would get the Caterpillar on the right, stop it, and push on the left. Then stop the left, push on the right, go all the way down the start straight and kind of mix it up.
Nicholes has gotten into the 47s, but it's still 6/10 off of Jett Lawrence. And I'm wondering, is Jett doing something obstacle-wise, or is he just doing everything a little bit better? I mean, the lap that we saw from Lawrence was perfect. But Nicholes, let's see if he can cut it. I don't think he's on one. Here we go. See, 2 over those 2 singles, no problem. Still blitzing. See him shift down there at the very end. Want to carry that high gear in the whoops all the way, but at the very end, when you know you're just about out, drop it back into the gear that you want to be in off that tabletop. That's pretty hard, shifting up or down in a whoop section, and you don't see it often in the beginning or the middle of the whoops. You'll see it there at the end. And man, that was a little bit of an overjump, Ashley, but he makes it clean.
Yeah, it seems pretty clean. What I'm noticing between Lawrence and Nicholes at this moment is that Colt keeps losing a little traction in his corners, and you and I know that makes a huge difference on tracks like this. It seems like Lawrence gets in there and his bikes just stick. So Colt's looking for a little more traction and not so much spin out as he goes through these turns.
Looks like he got some of it there.
He just found it, 46.9. And to your point, Ashley, that lap from him there at the end was a lot cleaner. You could tell he wasn't overriding and being too aggressive out. So I think he figured that out pretty quick. But Ashley, I'll come back to you. You know Colt Nicholes very well. He's very smart. He's a rider that, again, learns in the moment. And this is a guy who, if he's having an issue, he can correct mid-race without any outside instruction.
Yeah, and it just comes from experience, too. He's been in those situations where he's had to adjust his riding style. And we heard Ken Roxon actually tell us that at Saturday night during qualifying. He said, you know, I'm just going to have to adjust my riding style as I'm out there. It's nothing the bike can do, maybe not be so aggressive and have a little more patience. So I think that you're right when you say Colt knows how to adjust on these tracks and make sure that he can find that traction.
He looks good right now. 46.9 puts him at the top. There's Lawrence with the 47.1. Shimoda still third in front of Christian Craig, in front of Michael Mosman. Good ride for Shimoda. I like his approach, really like his attitude. We'll get into it, Dan. We'll take a listen to his podium interview from Saturday night.
Yeah, a lot of humility coming out of this kid, and a lot of great racecraft.
Great character.
Yeah.
And I like the way he goes about it. He's one of those kids that I think is all about that 1% gain. Just find a little more, a little more, a little more. He doesn't take too big of jumps. And he never really looks out of control. He never looks like he's pushing outside of his comfort zone. He just slowly gets it and gets it. And the next thing you know, he's third in qualifying. And it's big gains for him so far this year in 4 races.
He mentioned, too, about himself. He goes, I'm an 80, 90%. I need that extra percentage that you're talking about. And he's aware of it, and he knows what he has to do, and he's just got to make it happen.